The Russian embassy has come out to say that they are not part or involved with the flying of the country's flag in Nigeria in the protest. And so that put to rest the concerns some persons had when they began to see the dimension that the protest was taking, where some persons were flying the Russian flag. Because we've seen a situation where in other countries, African countries around, where they fly some of these countries' flags, showing their solidarity to the country and the country's support for whatever is going on in that country at the time. So it is good that the Russian embassy came out to clear the air, and then the tailors who were sewing this flag said to have been arrested as well. So let's see how the security agencies will go about fishing out persons that they say are involved in all of these issues, so that we might have some semblance of stability and sanity in the country. It's a major concern, but we see that the security agencies are taking the right steps, so it is a good one.
I like that the security agencies are taking the right step and being proactive, because while the protesters had planned the protest and given us a timeline, the security agencies were busy planning on their own as well. And so I like the fact that they were swift in addressing the situation, because a lot of people, a lot of elements use protests to push their own agenda. I know of that because I cover the NSAS protest as well. So I understand where all of this is coming from, because these are the kinds of people that will cause some serious mayhem. And before you know it, the country will be in disarray. Everybody will now be, it will now become like a wind blowing through every state. And so everyone want to carry such flags or do something close to that. So it's quite interesting that this is happening, and for me, I will commend the security agencies for what they have done, nipping this in the bud. So it means that, despite the fact that you are protesting, it doesn't mean that you will commit a treasonable offense. It is a treasonable offense.
As it is.
As it is. Though the Constitution does not address it totally, but it is a treasonable offense to do such thing.
Remember that the security agencies had, before the protest began, say that they got intelligence about some persons who were looking to take advantage of the protest to hijack and to also do whatever it is they intend to do. And they were advising the protesters at the time to look at how they can shelve the planned protest. And then the police went ahead to say, you know what, you can send us your information, and so that we can know how we can fish out those who are the hijackers, who intend to carry out, any of their sinister motives, and separate you from them. We know who the protesters are and who are not the protesters. But then there was outcry, and they now said, you know what, we'll give you protection as much as possible. And so we must commend security agencies, be it the police, the military, who have ensured that so far they maintain the peace in the country, as they have always gotten the marching orders from the president. We saw their engagement with the protesters on the field, even when they got court order that their movement was limited to certain spaces, and they refused to adhere. We saw how the police related with them, even though some persons tried to provoke them, but then we saw the engagement. But as much as possible, this also goes to show that some people do not understand the import of whatever actions they take. It's also, falls back to education. How much education do these persons have? Do they understand the import of flying another country's flag in your own country? Do they know what it means? At the end of the day, are people capitalizing on their ignorance as it is to do these things that they are saying? If you listen to the military chief, he said there were external interest, obviously from what we have seen play out as it is. So we can only hope that we manage the situation as much as possible, because there's still apprehension in the air.
There's still apprehension in the air. And like we've mentioned, it's a good thing as the security agencies have been able to manage the situation thus far. And they have actually really done well. Like the engagement you're talking about, let me use Ojota, for example.
You were there.
Yes, just last week, Thursday, while the protest was rife and going on within Ojota, and they were walking around, they were first of all told to stay within the service lanes. But at the point they had to walk around chanting songs and all of that, the police calmly spoke to them and told them, "We need you to get to this point and stay here and do your protest here." So there's not been back and forth that has turned violence. Even yesterday when I was there, as it got to 4 p.m., the police just gently walked to them. They understand the language, and before you know it, everywhere was cleared. So that relationship has been there, and the protesters in Lagos know that the police are there for our safety. They have this camaraderie, so they understand that the police are there for our safety, and that's what we should all understand while going on protest, that the security agencies are not there to shoot at you or to fight you. They are there to protect you. And so,
even though there's been accusations and
counter-accusations, yes. But primarily, they are there to protect you. Your fundamental human right to protest, they are there to do that. And so if you take advantage of that calmness to cause mayhem, then you might see something else.
We're also aware that all of us have seen it, where some foreign flags have been flown within the sovereignty of Nigeria, and that is totally unacceptable. We are warning in clear terms, and the president has also said we should convey this, that we will not accept anybody, any individual flying any foreign flag in Nigeria. All security agencies are here to defend democracy and make sure that democracy continues to strive. For those of them flying flags, if you see a lot of them are kids being pushed to do that. We're following up with those ones that are sponsoring them, those that are pushing them, because the flags were also made. We identified those areas and we're going to take serious action against that.